What's up, MLDF Network? I'm your host, Rod Murray. In this episode, we're going to get into a couple franchise updates. We're also going to talk a couple teams that we need to be on the lookout for, as well as some contenders and pretenders for this upcoming season. So sit back and enjoy the show. Over the course of the last week, we had a few key events to happen within our league. First off, Reggie Bush signed with the Buffalo Bills. The 30-year-old former USC Heisman Trophy winner now joins a backfield that was already stacked with LaShawn McCoy and Carlos Williams. Adding to that rushing attack and also complementing that passing game led by quarterback Tyrod Taylor and wide receiver Sammy Watkins now make the Buffalo Bills a serious contender to come out of the AFC East. We look forward to seeing how that pans out with them in that strong division that already has the Patriots and the up-and-coming Miami Dolphins team. Also, there was a franchise tag deadline set for August 26th, so any coach that lost a player via free agencies from last season installment should hurry to make an announcement on what player they want to bring back if he left, or if that player left on the win with his new team. Also, as the player ratings have been dropped for the entire Madden game, few preliminary talks have been made for trade discussions. As it stands now, the Eagles, the Jaguars, and the Lions have all made it public they're looking to move players. As the season's around the corner, we look to see more trades on the trade wire as teams look to build their rosters to compete for a Super Bowl this season. Also in this installment is a new ability to have what's called a practice squad. Similar to real life, the coaches will have the ability to sign 10 players and just stall them on their rosters for development purposes. And at any point throughout the season, they can bring them up and put them on the 53-man roster. Be cognizant, though, that they also can be snatched by other users or other coaches at any time. And this is just some of the few installments and updates through our franchise. We'll bring more next week.
Now let's get into a few teams this year that can make some noise in their respective conferences. We'll call this segment Teams on the Rise. First up, you got your Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs finished last year on a 10-6 season and barely missed out on the playoffs, but that wasn't a lack of effort. Led by the quarterback Alex Smith, running back Jamal Charles, Travis Kelce, and on the defensive side of the ball, Eric Berry, there were enough plays to go around to be made. Just unfortunately, the AFC West was very strong last year, and they missed out on the playoffs. I think that'll be different this year. With Jeremy Maclin coming back to this team, I think this team could be formidable and cause a problem. The running game is going to be stronger, and with another year under his belt, Alex Smith can finally lead this team to the playoffs and possibly a Super Bowl berth. Got to go with the Chiefs. Our NFC team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by quarterback Jameis Winston, coming off a strong rookie year, Doug Martin, Mike Evans, and crew. And on the defensive side of the ball, led by Levante Davis, this team can finally break through and be a problem in the NFC if they want to, and if the coach leads them right. Coming off a strong 10-6 season last year, there's no reason this team can't repeat that same type of performance and go even further in the playoffs and make a possible Super Bowl run. But it's all going to be led by that offensive charge. With Vernon Hargreaves on the defensive side of the ball, it should be pretty okay. But offensively, can Jameis Winston continue to grow and lead that team? Should be a lot of fireworks in Tampa Bay, and I can't wait to see them.
Now let's get into a couple of teams that can be contenders or pretenders.
All right, so the first team we're going to talk about is the Dallas Cowboys, led by first-year in NFL user Marquise Larry. Now on the forefront, Dallas Cowboys look like a formidable team that might cause them problems this year, but I got a sad feeling that they will disappoint in the NFC. Now, not because of a lack of talent, just because I think this year Marquise will have a hard time confirming over to the talent that's in the MLDF. While he is a great user and I think he'd be fine inside the NFC East, I think he may struggle a little bit with the rest of the pretenders in the NFC. So I got to call the Cowboys a pretender. The next team we're going to cover is out west in the AFC, the Denver Broncos. Now there's going to be a new sheriff in town, but led by that strong defense, I don't really think it matters what they can do on the offensive side of the ball. With that defense led by Von Miller and that stingy secondary, the team is not going to have to worry about stopping people. The problem is not going to be putting up points. Will they be able to do it is still to be seen. Now, the running back with C.J. Anderson, the wide receivers Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, they're going to hold their own. But can he use to take care of his team on the offense and take care of the ball and not make mistakes is yet to be seen to determine. I think they can, and I think they'll make some noise out there in the AFC West and maybe go into the playoffs. I got to label the Denver Broncos some contenders. The next team up is not an unfamiliar face to the playoffs or going deep inside the MLDF season, and that's your Seattle Seahawks. Now, last year there was a disappointing loss to the NFC champions, the St. Louis Rams, and I got a feeling it's going to be more of the same this year. Coach Scott Bramhall has a lot of turnover with that team, whether it be on the offensive side of the ball, possibly losing his left tackle Russell Okung, or on the defensive side of the ball where he's losing a linebacker, see if he'll have to bring him back. Just a lot of unanswered questions that he has to answer in a short amount of time to turn that team around. While offensively it'll be led by a nice quarterback in Russell Wilson, and that wide receiver core is getting a little better, the running game is going to be shaky nonetheless. The defensive side of the ball, they bring back Brandon Browner, who's going to try to help solidify the Legion of Boom, but let's just be honest, man, it hasn't been the same in the last couple of years. Tyler Lockett is going to be a firepiece on the offensive side of the ball, but can he bring in some more weapons to help make a difference is yet to be seen. Now the NFC is going to be packed, and with Arizona Cardinals bringing in Coach Brandon Carr, it's going to be see if he can even come out of the NFC West. So I got to label the Seattle Seahawks some pretenders this year, and hopefully they can pick it all together, but it ain't looking too good. Next we'll head down south to the Tennessee Titans with Coach Jonathan Castillo. Last season they had an upsetting playoff victory against the Baltimore Ravens that set with Coach Murray so much that he actually left Baltimore and headed down south as well to join the Jacksonville Jaguars. That may pose a problem for this up-and-coming team. Led by second-year quarterback Marcus Mariota and wide receiver Dorial Green-Beckham, this team also has two outstanding running backs that could pose a difference and be a problem in DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. However, the defensive side of the ball has a lot of question marks. Unsure what to do at cornerback position, and the linebacking core very shaky. I'm unsure that this team can pose to be a problem. Gotta label them some pretenders. Next is the NFC West champions. I'm calling it here now, the Arizona Cardinals. Team has been on a lot of change since Coach Carr's been there, and he's strong on defense. So I gotta believe that strong secondary led by Tyrann Mathieu and Pat Peterson is only going to help his quest into taking that NFC West crown that was vacated once Coach Travis Simmons went to Baltimore and took over that team. Now offensively, they're going to have a little weapons. With David Johnson and Chris Johnson in the backfield, and they still have the oh-so-dependable Larry Fitzgerald wide receiver. He's going to be able to do some damage on the offensive side of the ball. But his strong suit is going to be defense, and that's what he prides himself on, and that's what he's pretty goddamn good at. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the NFC has for this team. I'm unsure if they can stop them. There may be a watch out for an undefeated season come out of these Arizona Cardinals. Now, I'm putting a lot on it, but I got a lot of faith in this team, and more specifically the user that's playing with them. So while I don't think they'll actually win the entire thing, they will take a hold of the NFC. It's going to be fun to watch them. And I got to label this year's Arizona Cardinals some true contenders out there in the NFC. Lastly, we're going to go back down south, down 95. We're going to visit those Jacksonville Jaguars, led by no other than yours truly. A lot was said when I talked to the commissioner and asked to make this change and lead this team, and that's all for good reason. With Jalen Ramsey, Miles Jack, and Dante Fowler coming back from injury last year, this defense is going to be led by a lot of young studs that want to make a difference and play on the scene. Offensively, A&A with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns proving they can make some highlight plays on the offensive side of the ball. And with Blake Bortles coming along and becoming to get better, and with Julius Thomas prone for a breakout year, this is possible the year that can happen. TJ Yeldon is suddenly coming to his own itself, and with Chris Ivory coming over from the New York Jets, he's proven they can have a great 1-2 punch out of the backfield. Look out for the Jacksonville Jaguars this year coming out of the AFC South, man. This team has all the pieces and the tools to be formidable and somebody that cannot be messed with come playoff times. By virtue, and just because I'm a stickler for my team, I'm naming the Jacksonville Jaguars some contenders in this season.
Here's what we'll be covering in our next week's episode. First, we'll get into our pre-playoff picture for next year. We'll also talk some players to watch for our early MVP race. And we also have the spousal guide to the Madden season. Yeah, I've been your host, Rob Murray. I'll see you next week.